That's it, Charlie Brown. You get the tree. I'll handle this crowd.
Why do we have to have a holiday season to emphasize it?
You remember that piano, that lonely little tree, and a boy who couldn't find Christmas no matter how hard he tried. But behind that soft jazz and flickering light was a story no one expected. Near cancellations, kid actors who couldn't read, and a cartoon that changed how America felt about the holidays. These are 30 interesting facts about a Charlie Brown Christmas. A look at how one small tree, one quiet voice, and one stubborn cartoonist redefined Christmas forever. Fact 1. The scene that almost got banned. You know the moment. Linus steps on stage, blanket in hand.
Me? You want me to be the director of the Christmas play?
The lights fade. He reads from the Gospel of Luke. For a second, everything stops. It's one of the quietest scenes in TV history, and it almost never happened. CBS executives thought religion had no place in a cartoon. Charles Schulz didn't blink. He told them it stayed, or the whole show was off. Simple as that. That decision turned a kid's speech into a spiritual lightning bolt. Millions of families heard scripture on network TV for the first time. No flashy effects, no sermon, just a small boy's voice and a flickering Christmas tree, and somehow that felt more real than any sermon ever could. One man's faith changed television quietly. Fact 2. Coca-Cola in the original broadcast. Back in 1965, sponsorship wasn't just ads between scenes, it was inside them. Coca-Cola literally appeared in the original airing of A Charlie Brown Christmas. Characters paused for Coke cues, backgrounds framed little nods to the brand. Then for reruns, those moments vanished. Scrubbed clean, like they never existed. Watching the restored version today feels like opening a time capsule. The fizz and nostalgia of an America where soda was part of every living room. I still imagine a Coke bottle sweating on the coffee table while Charlie Brown mutters about Christmas. It's a strange detail. Commercialism built into a story about rejecting it. Even then, Schulz's cartoon was calling out what funded it. That irony aged beautifully. Fact 3. The death of the aluminum Christmas tree. There was a time when Christmas trees weren't green, they were silver. Shiny aluminum branches, color wheels spinning red and blue light, space-age holiday glamour. Then a Charlie Brown Christmas aired, and one wooden tree killed the fad overnight. The moment Charlie picked that tiny, crooked sapling, America changed. Families saw beauty in imperfection again.
Gee, do they still make wooden Christmas trees?
This little green one here.
Within a few years, aluminum trees disappeared from stores. Real pine came back, needles and all. That single act of rejection, one boy choosing real over fake, reshaped Christmas decor. It wasn't just a prop, it was a statement. The cartoon reminded everyone that warmth doesn't shine, it glows. Sometimes the simplest tree carries the biggest heart. Fact 4. Executives thought it would fail. CBS hated it. Too quiet, too sad, too slow. They thought it was a disaster. The pacing dragged. The animation looked cheap. The kids' voices were awkward. Schulz ignored them all. Coca-Cola had already funded it, so CBS had to air it anyway. Then something wild happened. Audiences fell in love. The failure became a holiday miracle. Families gathered around black and white TVS, watching a cartoon that actually felt human. Every silence hit harder than a laugh track ever could. It wasn't slick, it was sincere. The very thing executives feared became its magic. It proved that emotion beats polish, and that awkward pauses sometimes speak the loudest. Fact 5. No laugh track. In the 60s, every TV show had canned laughter. Jokes landed, crowds chuckled. Next line. Schulz wanted none of it. When a producer suggested adding one, he walked out. He believed silence was more honest. And he was right. Without fake laughter, every pause breathes, every sigh lingers. Charlie Brown's sadness feels real because no one tells you when to laugh. The quiet became the heartbeat of the show. It made kids listen, not just watch. Imagine Linus reading scripture with laughter underneath. It would ruin everything.
Lo, the angel of the Lord came upon
so
me.
much.
Schulz trusted stillness, and in doing so, he made one of the most emotionally honest cartoons ever aired. Fact 6. Real kids, real voices, no trained actors, no polish, just kids. Charles Schulz wanted real children to voice his characters even if they stumbled. Some were so young they couldn't read their lines. The crew fed them words one phrase at a time. That's why their delivery sounds choppy, imperfect, but honest. It feels like the kids you grew up with, not professionals pretending. Every pause, every mispronounced word became part of the magic. You can hear the breath of childhood in every scene. It's raw and awkward and perfect. Schulz understood something every studio forgot. Authenticity connects deeper than perfection. Those tiny hesitations made the Peanuts gang sound human. You weren't watching a cartoon. You were listening to real children trying to understand Christmas just like you once did. Fact 7. Sally's loose tooth. Sally's voice had a secret. Kathy Steinberg, only 6 years old, was losing her front tooth. It wobbled through every recording session. Producers panicked. If it fell out, her voice would change. So they rushed her into the booth and recorded every line before bedtime. Listen closely and you can hear it. That tiny lisp hanging between words. It's adorable, imperfect, completely human. That voice isn't acting. It's real childhood caught on tape. Years later, you can still hear innocence clinging to every syllable. It's funny, what they rushed to fix became one of the show's sweetest details. A loose tooth, a nervous giggle, and a 6-year-old
branches my brother found in a Christmas tree lot?
Unknowingly becoming part of Christmas history. Fact 8. 6 months of chaos. 6 months, that's all they had to make it. No one on the team had ever produced a half-hour cartoon before. Schulz wrote the story. Lee Mendelsohn handled production. Bill Melendez directed. They were learning as they went. Tiny budget, tight schedule, brand new territory. They stitched it together with coffee, deadlines, and hope. Most TV projects collapse under that kind of pressure. This one became immortal. The speed forced simplicity. The simplicity created honesty, no filler, no fluff, just story. It's wild to think that a team making something so rushed created a timeless ritual.
Okay, get up. I want to lie in that beanbag.
Every December, their 6-month experiment still plays like magic. Sometimes you don't need experience, just conviction and a deadline. Fact 9, you're the jazz that shouldn't have worked. Cartoons weren't supposed to sound like this. Vince Guaraldi's trio played cool jazz, bass, drums, gentle piano. Instead of upbeat jingles, it shouldn't have fit, yet somehow it did perfectly. Linus and Lucy, Christmas time is here, every note dripping with warmth and melancholy. Schulz loved it instantly. That soundtrack changed holiday music forever. It made jazz part of Christmas. Even now you hear it in stores, malls, and quiet kitchens every December. It's soft, grown up, and still childlike, just like the show itself. The music doesn't fill silence, it defines it. That's why decades later, Guaraldi's piano feels like memory itself, looping through time like snow falling on a TV screen. Fact 10, the ratings miracle. CBS thought they were airing a flop. Then the night came, December 9th, 1965. 15.5 million homes tuned in. That's nearly half of every TV in America. Living rooms glowed with static and color. Families sitting cross-legged on shag carpet. For 30 minutes, the world stopped and watched a sad little boy find meaning. The next morning, schools buzzed. People quoted lines. Critics reversed their reviews. The failure had become a phenomenon. Ratings through the roof. Letters poured in. A Charlie Brown Christmas wasn't just a hit. It was an instant tradition.
If I point to the right, it means focus, attention, stage right.
CBS had no idea they'd just helped create the most rewatched holiday special in history. What they feared was too quiet, became the sound of Christmas itself. Fact 11. The blanket speech that changed everything. It's the moment everyone remembers. Linus steps forward, blanket in hand. He speaks softly about shepherds and fear. Halfway through, he lets go, the blanket drops. That wasn't random. Schulz wrote it that way, a small gesture with massive weight. It's Linus finally trusting what he's saying. Faith replacing fear. No special effects, just a boy, a spotlight, and a trembling voice. It's one of the simplest, most powerful acts of symbolism in TV history. Millions of families watched that blanket hit the stage and felt something change. Even now, it's the part people pause for, the quiet truth at the heart of the noise. Sometimes a single drop says more than a sermon. Fact 12. The tiny budget that helped. You'd never guess. A Charlie Brown Christmas was made on scraps. The budget was so tight the animators reused drawings and skipped frames.
Just don't understand Christmas, I guess.
The snow looks jerky, the movements stiff, the background simple, but that imperfection became the charm. It feels handmade, like a drawing taped to your fridge. Those rough edges gave it warmth. Schulz didn't want polish. He wanted personality. The mistakes became mood. That's why the special still looks timeless while glossier shows fade. You can feel the pencils, the smudges, the human hand behind it all. It's proof that sometimes the flaws carry the soul. Christmas didn't need to sparkle. It just needed to feel honest. Fact 13. Inspired by real holiday blues, the sadness in A Charlie Brown Christmas wasn't fiction. Schulz felt it himself. He hated the noise, the ads, the pressure. He once said Christmas had become too commercial, too hollow, so he wrote about loneliness and let Charlie Brown feel it for all of us. That's why his line hit so deep. I don't feel the way I'm supposed to feel.
I don't feel the way I'm supposed to feel.
It's universal. Everyone's been there, surrounded by joy but feeling nothing. Schulz gave that emptiness a name. He turned melancholy into art. The result wasn't cynical, it was healing. He reminded the world that sadness belongs in Christmas too, that maybe feeling lost doesn't mean you've lost the meaning. Fact 14. The tree was real. That famous little tree wasn't a cartoon invention. It was modeled after a real department store reject, bent, thin, and unwanted. Schulz saw one in a display window and thought, that's it, the perfect metaphor. Something fragile that just needed a little love. In the story, Charlie's friends laugh at it. Then when they decorate it, it transforms. Simple human magic. You don't need miracles, just kindness and time. After the show aired, stores
I did not!
started selling replicas of that same ugly tree, and they sold out. It's poetic. The thing meant to be pathetic became an icon, a reminder that beauty doesn't always shine. Sometimes it just needs someone to notice. Fact 15. Kids recorded out of order. Recording day was chaos. The child actors couldn't follow scripts, so producers recorded half sentences and stitched them later. Lines got rearranged, voices overlapped, timing drifted, but that patchwork sound became part of the show's heartbeat. The kids don't sound like actors, they sound like real conversations. You hear hesitation, breathing, honesty. That's what gives the special its strange rhythm. It feels dreamlike, like childhood memory replaying itself. Schulz wanted that tone, imperfect, authentic, and timeless. You can almost hear the edits, but they never distract. They remind you
It's run by a big Eastern syndicate, you know.
that what you're hearing isn't crafted perfection. It's life, caught mid-sentence. Fact 16. Good grief was almost cut. It's Charlie Brown's heartbeat. 2 words that define him. But CBS hated good grief. They said it sounded depressing, too negative for a Christmas special. Schulz refused to change it. He said it wasn't sadness, it was honesty. That phrase captured childhood frustration perfectly. Not anger, not despair. Just that tired sigh when life feels slightly heavier than it should. And it worked. Good grief became a cultural echo, printed on lunchboxes, shirts, and decades of memories. It's funny. The line they wanted gone became the one everyone remembered.
Peculiar thing about
Proof that sincerity outlives censorship. Sometimes the most human words are the simplest ones. Fact 17. Snoopy's dance was improvised. That famous Snoopy dance? Completely unplanned. Animator Bill Melendez sketched it in one burst of inspiration late at night. No reference, no choreography, just a few looping frames of joy. Snoopy bouncing, spinning, losing control. Pure movement, pure happiness. It looked rough, even silly, but it captured something real. Schulz loved it instantly. It turned a silent beagle into the spirit of celebration. Kids saw fun, adults saw freedom. It became one of animation's most iconic moments. Sometimes the best art isn't drawn, it's discovered by accident. Snoopy didn't just dance. He reminded everyone that joy doesn't need permission. Fact 18. The real meaning behind Charlie's line. I know nobody likes me. It's the saddest line in the show, and the truest.
I almost wish there weren't a holiday season. I know nobody likes me.
Schulz wrote it from experience. He'd battled loneliness for years, even at the height of his fame. Charlie Brown wasn't a character. He was confession in cartoon form. That line wasn't for laughs. It was therapy. It told kids that sadness was okay, that being left out didn't make you broken. When Charlie said those words, he spoke for every quiet kid in the room. That's why the show hits deeper as you grow older. The humor fades, but the honesty stays. A Charlie Brown Christmas didn't hide emotion. It held it up to the light. Fact 19. The aluminum tree effect. Before 1965, Christmas meant chrome. Families wanted shiny, metallic trees spinning under rainbow wheels. Modern, cold. Then Charlie Brown chose wood. Overnight, aluminum trees died. Stores couldn't give them away. It's wild. One cartoon scene reshaped American taste. People realized what they'd lost. Texture, smell, warmth, the sound of pine needles falling on the floor. A Charlie Brown Christmas made Christmas human again. The fake trees faded, but that wooden one lived forever. It's funny. A cartoon kid ended a national fad.
Linus is right. I won't let all this commercialism ruin my Christmas.
Maybe that's the real miracle of the show. One simple act of choosing something real over something perfect. Fact 20. The soundtrack that refused to fade. When the credits rolled, no one expected the music to last. It was just background, soft jazz under snowflakes. But Vince Guaraldi's score became immortal. Linus and Lucy turned into a cultural anthem. It still reappears on the Billboard charts every December, almost 60 years later. That's unheard of for a cartoon. The music carries nostalgia without needing words. It feels like memory in motion. Even people who've never seen the special recognize the melody. That's the power of sincerity. Guaraldi wasn't chasing a hit, he was chasing a feeling, and somehow he found Christmas. Fact 21. Guaraldi's piano was a character. The piano wasn't background noise, it was alive. Vince Guaraldi didn't write filler music, he wrote emotion. Each note feels like snowfall, soft and fragile. His piano didn't just score scenes, it spoke for the characters. Charlie Brown's melancholy, Snoopy's joy, Linus's calm. Every chord carried meaning. It's rare when a melody becomes memory, but Guaraldi did it. Schulz said he wanted music that felt like childhood, not a jingle. He got it. That gentle jazz made sadness sound warm. To this day, you can hear those keys and know exactly where you are, cross-legged on the carpet, lights dim, tree glowing. The piano doesn't play Christmas. It is Christmas. Fact 22, the children's choir, was one take. The kids singing Christmas Time Is Here didn't rehearse for weeks. They recorded it once, raw, nervous, a little off-key. The producer wanted another take. Schulz said no. He loved the imperfection. It sounded human. You can hear them breathing between verses, almost whispering the last line. That's what makes it so haunting. It's not polished harmony, it's innocence captured in sound.
It's not even Thanksgiving yet. By the time Christmas comes, all the needles will be falling off.
The voices waver like candlelight. You feel them, not hear them. That's why it still gives people chills. Decades later, they didn't need perfection, they needed truth. And somehow, in one shaky recording, they found it. Fact 23, the air date that created a tradition, December 9th, 1965, the night America stopped scrolling through channels. 15 million homes tuned in at once. Families sat shoulder to shoulder, dinner plates pushed aside. The broadcast ended, and something strange happened. Silence. No debates, no outrage, just people sitting quietly feeling understood. It became an annual ritual. Every year since, the same music, the same tree, the same quiet reminder. One night of sincerity that never fades. Before streaming, before social media, before noise, there was that half hour of peace. And it still plays every Christmas like clockwork, asking the same question: what does it all mean? Fact 24. No test audience, no second chances. Today, every show gets test screenings, notes, revisions. Not this one. Schulz refused them all. There were no audience previews, no committee rewrites.
There's a play on words here, you see. David was standing on a mountain calling.
He trusted instinct. CBS was terrified, and they'd never aired something unseen by focus groups, but Schulz wasn't chasing approval. He was telling the truth as he saw it. When the episode finally aired, it wasn't designed to please anyone, and that's exactly why it did. The honesty cut through. It's a rare moment in TV history, pure creation, untouched by feedback. Just one artist believing that real emotion doesn't need testing, it needs courage. Fact 25. Schulz refused mid-story commercials. Back then, sponsors ruled television. They could interrupt anything for ads. But Schulz said no. No breaks in the middle. No jingles splitting Linus's speech. It was non-negotiable. Coke agreed. CBS hesitated, but Schulz held firm. He wanted the story to breathe, to feel sacred, even for 30 minutes. That decision changed pacing forever. The special felt continuous, like a dream with no cuts. Audiences didn't know why it felt so immersive. They just knew it did. It's a small detail, but it gave a Charlie Brown Christmas something rare.
For behold, I bring you tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people.
Respect for silence, and that silence became part of the show's heartbeat. Fact 26. The tree lot scene was symbolic. That quiet walk through the tree lot wasn't filler. It was a message. Every aluminum tree sparkled like a mirror of America's obsession with perfection. Then Charlie saw the smallest one, bent, fragile, forgotten. He picked it anyway. That moment was Schulz shouting softly at the world, choose real over fake. The scene changed more than taste. It changed how people saw Christmas. The little tree became a symbol of sincerity itself. You can feel the cold air, the faint music, the loneliness melting into something pure. No grand speech, just a kid choosing kindness. That's what made the whole country stop and listen. Fact 27. CBS wanted a new narrator. Executives hated the kids' voices. Too quiet, too uncertain. They wanted an adult narrator to fix the pacing. Schulz refused. He said children should sound uncertain, and that's the point. Their stumbles made the story believable. The audience heard real vulnerability. Not studio polish. That choice gave a Charlie Brown Christmas its innocence. When Linus pauses or Sally forgets a word, it feels alive. You're not hearing actors, you're hearing truth. And decades later, that mistake still makes it timeless. CBS wanted control. Schulz wanted honesty. Honesty won. Fact 28. Snoopy's prize-winning decor. Remember Snoopy's over-decorated doghouse? That wasn't just comedy, it was satire. Schulz used it to poke fun at the commercial side of Christmas. Snoopy literally wins money for the best decorated house. Meanwhile, Charlie Brown is falling apart trying to find meaning. It's brilliant irony. The dog becomes everything the story warns against, and still somehow lovable. It shows how consumerism sneaks into joy.
Has a great pumpkin been by?
Schulz balanced humor with commentary so well you almost miss it. A cartoon dog enters a contest, and suddenly you're questioning your own lights. Fact 29. The message that outlived its era. Maybe Christmas doesn't come from a store. That line isn't just dialogue, it's a thesis. Schulz wrote it in an age obsessed with advertising. 60 years later, it feels even sharper. Every December, brands try to sell us happiness. Charlie Brown whispers the opposite. The world still listens. Kids repeat it without knowing how radical it is. Adults quote it because it still hurts a little, in a good way. way. The truth hasn't aged. The lights change, the gifts evolve, but that one sentence keeps outshining them all. Fact 30, the special that never stopped airing. It began as a half-hour experiment. Now it's a ritual older than most of us, from CBS to ABC to Apple TV+.
Lucy, get those costumes and scripts and pass them out.
A Charlie Brown. Christmas never really disappeared. Families keep finding it year after year, like it's waiting for them. The animation stayed simple. The message stayed honest. The tree never grew straight. And that's the point. Every December when the piano starts and the snow drifts across the screen, the world slows down for a moment. One boy, one blanket, one little tree, and the reminder that maybe, just maybe, that's enough. Outro, A Charlie Brown Christmas, isn't just a holiday classic. It's the soul of Christmas on TV. From Vince Guaraldi's timeless jazz to Charlie Brown's Little Wooden Tree, this 1965 Peanut special still defines what Christmas feels like. Decades later, fans keep searching for its hidden facts, behind-the-scenes stories, and nostalgic meaning. So if you love classic Christmas movies, vintage animation, and Peanuts trivia, hit subscribe, because every snowflake, every note, and every good grief still reminds us the real Christmas spirit never fades.